and welcome to Awake TV Season 2020 Episode 5. So I hope you're well. It's been about a week since my last episode, and as I was sitting down to record this, I was just thinking how much has happened in a week. There are so many changes, and it seems like as soon as you've got to grips with something, there's something else that's coming in, there's a change, there's a new government update, it's this constant movement, right? So I hope you're well. I hope you're looking after yourself. And I want to talk to you today about what others think about you, manipulations that are happening, and your freedom. So in case you're new to me, I'm Marie Fleming Grant, and I am founder of the Awake Revolution, and I am on this planet here to help you drop the baggage, wake up the real you, and revolutionize how you think, feel, and create, because you didn't come here to settle, and you get to choose. So what's been coming up as I've been on social media, working with clients, responding to messages and comments, is this theme of really getting deeply impacted by what others think of you. So you might be feeling this yourself, or you might know somebody who has expressed the same to you. So do share this video if it feels like it's relevant to somebody else that you know. But what's happening at the moment is there's a real division, isn't there, in society? We've got let's use the face masks covering bullshit. There are those that stick by them and feel that we should be wearing them, and there are those that don't feel that way. So we've got this division happening, and you might find yourself very aware that you're feeling different to your family and your friends. You might be feeling like as if you're the only person in your circle that gets it. And it kind of leads you to be, you might feel quite isolated, alone in the world, really sort of not quite feeling like you belong in this world. And I did a little post about that yesterday, and I'll share the message with you now, is that if you feel that you don't belong in this world, it's because you're here to help create a new one. So I just want to remind you of that, because there's a reason that you are feeling like you're being judged and you're not fitting in. We have come to this planet for a reason. So again, if you're watching this and you're tuning into my episodes, you're most likely it's very relevant to you while you're here. We are in the middle of this great awakening. Well, we're not really in the middle, we're more at the beginning. So as souls, we've come to this planet to help assist the shift. And what that means is we've been strategically placed all around the world. So wherever you are in the world, you might be in the UK where I am, you might be somewhere else further away. We've been strategically placed around the globe. So sometimes it means that you might be in areas where you might be lucky enough to be with a community that get you and get what's happening, but you might not be. You might be more isolated. So take heart, keep your faith, and know that that's part of the journey. You're not alone, and I am here, and there are many people like me. Connect in ways, social media, however else, really make sure you're connecting to those people. Sometimes it means that you're going to move away from people who don't feel in the same frequency as you. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way. I mean more we vibrate at certain frequencies. So when you go through shifts and you start awakening, and you start really seeing the truth, and you start seeing things with a new pair of glasses, like a new pair of eyes, inevitably it's going to mean that you're going to start moving away from maybe people that you love, you were close to, and that's okay. And it is difficult, but just understand that that's part of the process as well, for some of us, for some of you. So just know that. So in terms of caring about what others think, I know for a fact from my interactions, sessions, messages, comments, engagement with people, that what's happening at the moment, there are a lot of people taking action steps like wearing a mask, putting the face covering on, complying with these orders from the government, and they're not doing it because they buy into it. They're doing it purely because of their anxiety, their levels of stress, because there's a real fear, isn't there, of what people think of us. So even you can be the most confident person, you're still going to have that innate human need to want to fit in. We all do. Even those memes and posts that declare that we don't care what people think. I care what people think, of course. I'm not going to be ruled by it. Sometimes I really don't care. But generally, we want to be liked. We want to be loved. We want to fit in. So this is a real point. You might be triggered by it, and that is okay if you are. Just know that's normal. I'm just going to invite you to consider what the worst thing is if you know, for example, if you take an action step, or you don't wear a mask, or you choose to stand your ground, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Often we're afraid of people giving us dirty looks, people judging us, people maybe even confronting us. So I'm just reminding you to be aware of your power, be aware that you are in your body and you are in your energy field. So what you engage with and what you don't engage with is your choice. So if anybody does come and, you know, ask you questions, you are absolutely free to just remove yourself. You can walk away. You can just remove yourself. If you feel like speaking, you can simply say, I am exempt. And I don't need to explain my personal, medical, emotional, mental health reasons to you. All right. So there are always choices. Please, please, please don't go against your own feeling, your own intuition, your own gut. Because if you know by covering your face or by doing any other action, whatever that is, doesn't feel right to you, it feels inherently wrong, it's because it is. And it's because your soul already knows, but maybe you're too afraid to follow it. So I'm not saying, and I completely understand that some of you watching, you might have real high levels of anxiety. I completely get it. I work with many people who are severe anxiety and in types of stress as well. So obviously do what you need to do that makes it easier for you. But I just invite you to consider sometimes often our anxiety comes from a disconnect. It comes from when we are not living our truth and we're not being in our bodies, we're not being where our energy is, and we're giving up our boundaries, we're giving up our truths for the sake of others. So just consider that and just think about what it feels and whether it feels okay for you. Now, the government is using lots of tactics to manipulate us, and they're doing it mentally and emotionally, as well as physical distancing and all of those other measures. So one of the ways they're using, obviously, fear is a huge thing. They're hyping it all up and creating a massive fear response. They're also using shame. It's been said in the quoted, I think somebody in the police, I can't remember her name, she said, you know, I hope that shopkeepers and people shame each other, when something like using shame as a way to get people to comply. These are all programs, these are all bullshit programming, and you don't have to play in those waters. You really don't. Selfish is another one. You know, we keep hearing it's like you're being selfish if you don't wear a mask. You know, this thing about I'll wear a mask for you if you wear one for me. And it's what it's doing, whether you buy into masks or not, I don't even care whether you buy into that or not. It's playing on your emotional charge. It's like emotional blackmail. It's saying you're going to be deemed as a selfish person. In fact, you are a selfish person. If you're thinking about your own needs, you're selfish. You've got to think about your community. You've got to think about your loved ones. You've got to think about the vulnerable and this and this and this. And yeah, sure, of course, this is, I care about all those things if it's true. This is a highly manipulative tactic. So just be aware of it. And I'm speaking it now in case some of you are going to know this completely. Some of you, maybe you haven't thought about it. So this is a tactic, all right? It's like being in an abusive relationship where sometimes you're so close, you cannot see the manipulation and the deception and the shame that's happening. So this is a tactic being used. Notice the words being used in the media, you know, around being selfish and being courteous to other people and all this bullshit. So if you're going to be triggered by that, it's going to keep you stuck, right, in this program. So yes, it might be uncomfortable. You might need to just take a step back and actually realize, right, I'm going to have to draw a line and think about my own health and sanity. And it might be that you piss a few people off. It might be that maybe some people don't get what you're doing. But the important thing here is speaking your truth, being in your own truth, and just breathing in what feels right to you, because your soul knows what you need and you know it as well. You absolutely do. It's just your fear, your mind will often cloud that, and you are helped by the mainstream media and the government messages over and over and over. So switch your damn TV off if you are feeling anxiety, because you're feeding it, all right? And I really say that with so much love, because it's happening and it's breaking my heart. There are people out there in fear and anxiety, and I get so angry with it because it is a manipulation at the highest level. Just understand that. All right, so you have to think about your own health. If you don't, the government isn't going to like sweep in and do it for you. All right, come September, October, when the weather gets colder, especially here in the UK, and you're feeling run down, you're mentally stressed, you're emotionally overloaded, you're in anxiety and stress and constant chaos, your immune system will take a hit and you will be picking up crap that's going around. So just look after yourself and do what you need to do, all right? So lots and lots of manipulations are happening. Lots of things are going on, and what you'll find is that there's a gradual tiptoeing. So this varies in different countries, but again, in the UK, we started with, you know, to use the face coverings, masks thing, which is massive this week. We started with they're not needed, there's no evidence for them. Then we moved to, oh, it's courteous, it's sort of nicer to wear them for the sake of others. Then it turned into, right, well, we have to wear them, it's mandatory on public transport. Then it turned into, okay, now we're going to add them in all shops. Now just today we've had an announcement, it's 31st of July today, that it's going to ripple out into all enclosed indoor spaces, I believe. So that includes places of worship, museums, cinemas probably. You sit with a mask on, you watching a film. How fun and enjoyable is that? So they're moving it, tiptoeing. They're not even tiptoeing, they're going quite rapidly this year, but they're moving towards. So the idea is every time they erode your sense of self and they cross a boundary and you give in, it's kind of easier to get to the next bit. It's easier and easier. And of course, where this is all going, if you don't know, is towards a mandatory vaccination and some sort of form of chipping, tracking, and all manner of crap, which I will do in a separate video. So we know this is going towards something a lot more sinister. That's just the fact. I don't say that to scare you. I just say it to shine a light on it. We need to know what's coming, and then we can act. All right. So there's nothing to freak out and panic about, but we need to have our eyes open because this isn't going to go away. So just know that there's tiptoeing, there's agendas, there's bullshit manipulations happening. So this is what leads me to now talking to you about freedom and your choice. So a couple of I've been seeing sort of comments and things come up around you know, they're forcing us to obey, like we've got no choice, this is awful, you know. I don't agree. Now, nobody, and this is going to maybe create new ways of thinking for you if you've not done it, but nobody can force you to do this. So they can be guidelines, there can even be, you know, whatever. I'm not going to say it actually here on this broadcast, but there are guidelines, there are suggestions, there are recommendations, right? There are concrete structures, shall we say, that state what we can and can't do. Whether you choose to follow that is your choice. It's absolutely your choice. So a lot of people are going around thinking it's like the law, they've got to wear a face covering. No, you don't. You are exempt. Interestingly, they've written out the exemptions. One of the exemptions, if you don't already know, is if it causes you severe distress to wear a face covering, you are exempt. If you know what you know, it's going to cause you severe distress, right? It's going to cause me severe distress if I wear a face mask. So you are exempt. There is no requirement for you to explain what your health issue is, what your reason is. There are laws in place, disability, discrimination, equality acts that prevent that, right? We've moved on from that. So you do not have to sit and justify with anybody, no one in shops. You just simply state that you're exempt. So you get to choose how you operate now. Comes down to your individual choices. So I just want to remind you of the power that you have inside. You get to create the kind of life that you choose. And I don't say that in a very wishy-washy way. I'm talking practical day to day. So for example, I use my hair as an example. I think I said in the last video that I really needed a haircut. I wrote about this the other day, and I found a place that seemed to be very relaxed about the tracking and tracing and the mask wearing and all of that. And I said, oh, you know, I'm not doing it. Is this a problem? They said no. I went to get my hair done this week, and before I knew it, there was hand sanitizers. Fine, took a little bit of that. They asked me to put a mask on. I said no, I'm not wearing a mask. And they said okay, a bit reluctantly. And then they were coming at me with a thermometer. That's when my boundary was there. I said I'm not having my temperature taken to get my hair cut. They're not medical professionals. I'm not playing in that game, right? I'm not playing in that pool. I could have done it. I could have seen that as I have no choice, I have to go and comply. No, I don't. I have a choice. So I chose not to do it. I cancelled my appointment and I walked out. I cut my own hair. So that was all right. It turned out okay. I was upset. Right, so I wrote in my post the other day, I was angry. I felt like crying my eyes out. I was so frustrated. But afterwards, when I calmed down, I realized I felt better. I didn't ignore my truth. I didn't, for the sake of vanity and convenience, ignore where I stood, and I stood my ground and I felt so empowered. It was incredible. So I just encourage you, remind you, your freedom and your choice is in your hands. Please don't buy into that bullshit. You get to choose every day. If a shop treats you like a piece of crap, and most of them are, you might find they're okay. If they do, you can choose where to spend your money. You are in control. You get to choose where you invest your money, right? You get to choose which services you use. And the thing is, we're so used to doing things on autopilot, the same shops, the same places. We get very stuck in a rut. So now what we're having to do is to really think outside of the norm and go, right, instead of buying my food there, maybe I'll try this place. Maybe I'll start doing it over here and not over here. So be selective. You're creating the new earth. I'm going to talk about that again, where we're going to go. In fact, that'll be my next video, kind of talking about where we're headed, this 3D, 5D thing, what it means, what we're creating, because we're creating a new reality at the moment. This is why all this shit is crumbling down, like I said in the last video. So this is about being really conscious. Choose where you invest your money. Choose where you go. Choose which pubs you go to and which restaurants. We found a restaurant the other day. It was our old one that we used to go to, me and Michael, and it was one of our favourite ones. And they came in and they did say, right, can we have your name and number so we can, put it into the track and trace? And I said, no, thank you. I said, I was very nice to her, and I said, no, I'm not going to be doing that. Is that okay still to be served here? Because I'm not going to participate in that. And she said, fine. She wasn't bothered. So it's a choice. A lot of this shit, they're pretending that it's mandatory and you must do it. There are pubs as well that do it. There are pubs that don't. Weatherspoons is one here in the UK. They do not enforce anything. Anyone that tries to enforce it, they don't know what they're talking about. So be selective. All right, so you get to choose. There's nothing, no one is going to force you. And when you sit and you make that decision for yourself, like I've done that, I've gone, I'm not getting a vaccine. I don't care. I don't care if they say you have to have a vaccine or you can't buy groceries in the shops ever. I'm not going to get a vaccine. I'm going to find new ways. All right. So we have that sense of freedom. And when you tap into that, there's not much that will come your way that will completely derail you. Yes, you'll have an emotional response. I had one today when I heard about these new masks indoors bullshit, but it was only for a moment. And then I kind of breathed and realized, oh, no. I'm going to still choose where I go and where I don't go. So just remember, all right, you're not alone. I'm here. There are people here all around the world who believe the same things that you believe. We're in this together. We're all here co-creating. All right. So it's shitty. It's hard. It's difficult, but we are going to go somewhere. The end result, I'll spoiler alert, the end result, we do it. This is an inevitable thing. Nothing can stop this process. Light is 1,000 times more powerful than any dark force. So we've already got it. We've already succeeded. It's just what we're witnessing is like the building's been bashed down and there's all this rubble. And we're tripping over the rubble, and it's, we might even cut our knee, and it's like, it's uncomfortable and it's horrible and it's like really hard work, but it's down. And then we can actually rebuild. We can clear all the shit up and actually rebuild something different. So have faith, all right? Keep the faith. Cry if you need to, scream if you need to, vent if you need to, but remind yourself that you have power, you have choice. No one needs to force you to do anything. You are a sovereign being. You did not come here to be dictated to. You did not come here to be a slave, and you did not come here to be controlled, and you know it. And as I'm saying it, you know the truth. You can feel it. I know you can. All right, so that's it for today. So look after yourself, really look after yourself. Do what you need to do. Boost your immune system. Get sleep, get rest, lightness. Remember to laugh. Find yourself a series or something that you can watch that just keeps you light. It feels good, all right? And it's so important. Don't be consumed by all the stories in the media. I love keeping updated, but I make a point of coming off it, completely forgetting about all the shit in the world, just coming back to myself, doing silly things just to kind of feel lighter again, fill myself up, and then I go back in and kind of check for updates. So make sure you're doing that. Really keep yourself going, because this is not a sprint. This is a marathon, right? We need to be able to sustain through this year. Don't know about next year yet, but this year we need to sustain it. Okay, so sending you lots and lots of love. Do drop a comment below if you have any questions, or you want to know more about any topics actually, or just to say hello. And if you are not in my Facebook group, I am going to have to think about a backup, because there are a lot of weird censorship things happening. So for now, I'm at the Awake Revolution. You can find it on Facebook. So take care, and I will speak to you again in the next episode. All right, so bye for now.